Tonight on the Y News. Sorsogon province placed under state of calamity following Typhoon Tisoy's onslaught last night. Typhoon Tisoy cuts power in several provinces after bringing lashing winds and torrential rains. A 5-year-old girl dies after a television set fell on her when Typhoon Tisoy hit Masbate Monday night. NAIA closes its terminals for 7 hours today due to Typhoon Tisoy. And Typhoon Tisoy slows down further after making its 4th landfall. Good evening. We have our reporters situated in some parts of Metro Manila to give to you updates on the onslaught of Typhoon Tisoy. Asher Cadapan Jr. is in Marikina City, while May Bermudez is at Quezon City and Tante Amento is on standby in Miaa, Pasay City. All 4 terminals of the Ninoy Aquino International Airport were closed at 11 a.m. today due to the anticipated onslaught of Typhoon Tisoy in Metro Manila. Airport officials said the decision to shut down operations was due to the anticipated destructive winds generated by the storm. Manila International Airport Authority, or MIAA General Manager Ed Monreal, said that priority will be given to regularly scheduled flights once the operations resume. Details on this report will be given later in the program. Sorsogon is now under a state of calamity following Typhoon Tisoy's onslaught last night. The province, though through record 0 casualty. Rodrigo Mendoza details why.
For about 8 hours, strong winds pounded Sorsogon province last night. It is feared that Typhoon Tisoy would bring devastation equal to the aftermath of Typhoon Riming in 2006. Evidence of Tisoy's onslaught can be seen everywhere. Assorted debris, downed trees, fallen power posts, and dangling cables. There is no available data yet on the extent of damage to infrastructure, but power supply remains cut off. Damage to agriculture throughout Sorsogon is pegged at 667 million pesos, mainly on coconut and rice. This prompted the declaration of a state of calamity.
Nagboto ng PDRMC para rekomenda sa sangguniang panlalawigan na magdeklara ng state of calamity upang sa gayon magamit namin ang QRF at ibang pondo na available sa lalawigan ng Sorsogon para mabigyang agarang lunas at unang lunas ang mga pangailangan ng aming mga kababayan dala ng bagyong si Tisoy.
Escudero also scored the Weather Bureau for its inaccurate forecast of Tisoy's path. Everybody thought the typhoon would barrel its way over Catanduanes and Camarines Sur based on Pag-asa's advisories. However, at 4 in the afternoon yesterday, Pag-asa told the province's Disaster Risk Reduction Management Office Tisoy would make its landfall in Prieto Diaz and Gubat, Sorsogon.
Kaya nga forecast ang tawag, hindi naman sa prediction. Minsan talaga hindi siya accurate, pero maging ganun pa man, sana magkaroon ng mas moderno pang kagamitan o kaalaman, hindi lamang mula sa Pilipinas, sa ibang bansa rin, para mas accurate na mabigyan ng sapat na notifikasyon, sapat na panahon para maghanda.
The skies over Sorsogon have cleared up today, but until now, telecommunication lines in the province remain erratic, while there is no service at all in some places, like in the town of Gubat. The government records 0 casualty until tonight. The PDRRMO reported over 50,000 residents were forced to flee their homes. Many of them have already returned from the evacuation centers. Rodrigo Mendoza, UNTV, News and Rescue, Sorsogon City.
Typhoon Tisoy lashed parts of Southern Luzon this morning, packing ferocious winds along with torrential rains. Thousands of families have been evacuated and some roads are blocked by fallen trees. Sherwin Kulubong reports.
Residents of Oriental Mindoro woke up to heavy rains and strong winds this morning due to Typhoon Tisoy. Roads leading to the city proper of Calapan, Mindoro were blocked as a result of fallen trees. The local government of Calapan has issued a warning to residents living nearby rivers to take evacuate to safety shelters. Power was cut all throughout the province. The same situation is experienced in the province of Romblon and in the town of Infanta, Quezon Province. In Occidental Mindoro, more than 500 families have been evacuated. The towns affected by Typhoon Tisoy are Mamburao, Abra de Ilog, Santa Cruz, Sablayan, Magsaysay, Lubang, Paloan, and Rizal. In Batangas, more than 8,000 residents living in coastal areas have been evacuated since yesterday. They are housed in 55 shelters across the province.
Since kagabi or kahapon ay nagtuloy-tuloy yung ating mga preemptive evacuations. So ipinakita ng ating mga counterparts ng mga LDR rebels yung kanilang dedikasyon na talagang yung ating objective na ang ating mga kababayang Batanggenya ay may iiwas dun sa mga maring sakunang mangyari.
And in Laguna, several residents in the town of Kalayaan are experiencing flooding inside their homes due to torrential rains. More than 1,000 residents are being housed in temporary shelters in the province. Power outages have also been reported in most parts of the district. The provincial government of Laguna is expected to conduct relief operations for affected residents tomorrow. Sherwin Kulubong, UNTV News and Rescue, Calamba, Laguna.
The provincial government of Catanduanes has launched clearing operations on national and provincial roads after the lashing of Typhoon Tisoy in the province in the early hours today. Meanwhile, Catanduanes residents are hopeful to be able to recover after Tisoy. Alan Manansala tells us why.
The eyewall of Typhoon Tisoy brought violent winds and intense rainfall here in the province of Catanduanes last night until the wee hours today. The UNTV News and Rescue team witnessed the lashing of the tropical cyclone in the provincial capital, Virac. Trees were struck down, roofs of houses got dismantled, power lines were cut for security. There is currently no water supply in the city. Access to communication lines and internet connection has been difficult since yesterday. This market, for sure, will be closed for days. Today, the province did not experience much downpour, but residents woke up with partially damaged houses. They are now making efforts to recover by repairing parts of their abode and cleaning up mess. Meanwhile, various government agencies held a rapid assessment meeting to evaluate the scope and amount of Tisoy's destruction on agriculture and infrastructure. According to Governor Shirley Abundo, it may take 2 more days before they can come up with a report on the full details of Tisoy's damages.
Simula kaninang umaga no, nag-convene kami yung Ardana. Ito yung rapid disaster assessment team. So magde-deploy na po kami sa labas para unti-unting malaman kung gaano kalaki yung destruction, kung meron man na nangyari after Typhoon Tisoy. Although ang DPWH, yung mga disaster risk management team ng bawat munisipyo at ng probinsya, nag-ikot na po upang magsagawa ng mga clearing sa national and provincial roads.
At the moment, no casualty has been reported according to the provincial government. Alan Manansala, UNTV News and Rescue, Catanduanes.
A 5-year-old girl died after a television set fell on her when Typhoon Tisoy hit Masbate last night. Nina Armilio details why.
Typhoon Tisoy left a trail of destruction in Masbate province when it unleashed heavy rains and strong winds last night. A 5-year-old girl named April Shai died in the onslaught of the typhoon in Masbate City. According to Lorna Pacheco Manga, the girl's mother, they were about to sleep when their television set placed on a cabinet fell on her daughter.
Nadaganan lang po ng TV kasi bumagsak to. Nahila ng TV kasi yung wire namin nadaganan ng putol na sanga kaya nahila siya pababa. Kaya siguro nagalaw yung TV kaya bumagsak, bumigay lahat.
The family is hoping for help from the local government. Meanwhile, the entire province of Masbate is currently suffering power outage. Hundreds of families remain in evacuation centers. Both the city and provincial government units announced suspension of classes for today. Nina Armilio, UNTV News and Rescue.
Malacanang canceled work in government offices within Metro Manila today. But President Rodrigo Duterte's scheduled events will push through. Rosalie Cos will tell us why.
Despite the onslaught of Typhoon Tisoy in the country, President Rodrigo Duterte proceeds with his 3 scheduled events this evening. Those include the oath-taking ceremony of the Executive Committee members of the League of Municipalities of the Philippines and newly appointed government officials, and the ceremonial signing of the postponement of the 2020 Barangay and Sangguniang Kabataan Elections Act and the Malasakit Center Act. Meanwhile, Malacanang canceled work effective 12 p.m. today in government offices in Metro Manila upon the recommendation of the National Disaster Risk Reduction and Management Council or NDRRMC. This is through Memorandum Circular Number 73 signed by Executive Secretary Salvador Medialdea. Classes in all levels in both public and private schools in Metro Manila are also suspended. This is in view of the continuing inclement weather brought about by Typhoon Tisoy. However, the directive excludes government personnel whose functions involve delivery of basic and health services, disaster and calamity preparedness and response, and other vital services. Rosalie Cos, UNTV News and Rescue, Malacanang.
Welcome back to Wine News. We pick up to where Angelo Castro III left off. I'm Alex Baltazar, and here are the headlines. Legaspi Domestic Airport sustains substantial damage following the onslaught of Typhoon Tisoy. Roads in northern Samar left impassable by Typhoon Tisoy. Ninoy Aquino International Airport closes its terminals for 7 hours today due to Typhoon Tisoy. Typhoon Tisoy slows down further after making its 4th landfall. And the Pasay City Police say 7 missing teens were not abducted. Good evening. The Legaspi Airport in the province of Albay has been greatly damaged due to Typhoon Tisoy. Meanwhile, as the weather condition in the province improved, many evacuees opted to return to their homes. Victor Cosare tells us why.
13 years after Albay was hit by Typhoon Riming, the province faced the onslaught of Typhoon Tisoy last night until early morning today. Not only houses but also buildings were destroyed by the typhoon, including the Legaspi Airport.
Mga damages din tayo sa agriculture at ang pinakamalaking damage sa atin ngayon yung sa airport. May mga government buildings din na damage.
In these photos taken by the Civil Aviation Authority of the Philippines or CAAP, major destruction in the departure area of the airport can be seen. Windows, doors, and walls were broken by the strong winds. Around the airport, trees were uprooted and blocked the roads. The roofs of many houses were clearly destroyed, while this dump truck was not heavy enough to contain the strength of Tisoy's wind. Some residents were left homeless as the typhoon devastated their houses.
Grabe po yung kagabi talaga, sobrang takot namin. Tapos yung mga bata kagabi basang-basa, guro ba, konti-unti. Ano namin po, ayusin namin. Ganyan ulit. May masilungan lang kahit bubong, okay na.
Because of these damages, Albay Provincial Governor Francis Bichara recommends the declaration of state of calamity in the province. When a provincial government declares a state of calamity, it can be allowed to use its calamity fund to aid those who were devastated by a calamity. Meanwhile, majority of the evacuees were able to return to their homes today as the weather condition improved across Albay.
Hindi po kami nakatulog kasi lakas ng hangin. Gusto na lang magsipag-uwian.
Bakit po uwi na?
Yung mga alaga at saka yung bahay, maglilinis. Yung asawa namin naiwan. Kawawa, iniiyakan na nga.
Victor Cosare, UNTV News and Rescue.
Many towns in northern Samar are left isolated after Typhoon Tisoy lashed the province, but the provincial government remains optimistic they can recover in no time. Jeneline Gakit-Valles will explain why.
Roads leading to and from Catarman, northern Samar remains impassable to motorists due to flooding. The Northern Samar Provincial Disaster Risk Reduction and Management Office, or PDRRMO, had sent 10 satellite phones to the island municipalities across the province before Tisoy's onslaught. But unfortunately, they could not be used due to lack of signal.
Isolated yung maraming towns, more than 20 towns. At yung our day na team natin ay hindi rin maka-operate dahil our day na team is the Rapid Damage Assessment and Needs Analysis team. No, hindi makapag-operate sila yung 5 teams natin supposedly to cover 24 towns dahil sa unpassable yung mga national roads. Hindi lang ilan kundi lahat ng national roads at this point of time.
Electric posts were toppled as strong winds and intense rain fell. According to the PDRRMO, clearing operations are underway through close coordination with different government agencies. The provincial government has sought the Philippine Army's help in assessing the extent of damages brought by the typhoon. As of this time, the Provincial Social Service Office remains uncertain on how many families were affected by Tisoy because communication lines and power supply are still down in the entire province. The PDRRMO has also appealed for food and construction materials for households affected by Tisoy.
Rest assured na yung idirekta nyo lang sa mga municipal disaster officers. They are well trained and capable of safeguarding that and delivering those services.
Despite this, the provincial government remains optimistic that with the help of various government agencies, the situation in the province will be back to normal in no time. Jeneline Gakit-Valles, UNTV News and Rescue, Catarman, Northern Samar.
Families continue to arrive at a covered court in Barangay Rojas District in Quezon City, designated as an evacuation area. This as the city braces for Typhoon Tisoy. Bermudez details why.
The Attorney Nino Casimiro covered court in Barangay Rojas District, Quezon City gives a roof above the heads of hundreds of evacuees today. Barangay Rojas District is among the flood-prone areas in the city. A preemptive evacuation was imposed among residents here earlier today in anticipation of Typhoon Tisoy's lashing in Metro Manila tonight. Among them is Vivian Nakin, who brought her 7 children with her to take shelter here. Vivian says they have gotten used to evacuating when typhoon comes, as they have been residing on Gumamela Street for 20 years.
Kasi minsan po hanggang bubong po Kasi transfer po kami pero umaabot po yun hanggang bubong sa amin. Kasi nung habagat, inabot po yung bubong namin.
Even Clarissa Lubian's family cooperated with authorities and evacuated to safety.
May stranded po kami. Tapos mahirap po dumaan. Siyempre wala pong pagkain.
Modular tents have been provided for the evacuees. Foods will also be readily provided for those taking shelter here at the basketball court in Barangay Rojas District.
Kapag may mga disaster na ganito, bumababa dito ang ating mga social workers na mayroon silang dalang cooked food. But now, nag-set up sila dito ng kitchen. So ang dala nila last night is bigas, mga canned goods. Tapos dito sila magluluto sa atin.
Bermudez, UNTV News and Rescue, Quezon City.
Some Quezon City residents will spend the night at a covered court in Barangay Bagong Silangan as the city government wants them out of harm's way. Let's find out why from my Bermudez Live. Yes, Mai, go ahead.
Alex, it's a calm after the storm, but some evacuees here in Barangay Bagong Silangan in Quezon City choose to spend the night at this covered court to take shelter even as Typhoon Tisoy weakens. The local government has enforced preemptive evacuation last night among residents in low-lying areas. It can be noted that more than 200 individuals in areas near creeks and the Tumana River died because of Typhoon Ondoy in 2009. As of 7:45 this evening, there are about 44 families and 174 individuals staying here at Adelina Covered Court, which now serves as an evacuation area. This measure is enforced every time the Tumana River threatens to burst its banks. This river connects Marikina and San Mateo rivers. 21 modular tents are ready for use, provided by the Quezon City Disaster Risk Reduction and Management Office. Each can accommodate up to 8 persons. Cooked meals were served to evacuees here today. Medicines are also provided for those in need of any. Alex, as of now, Typhoon Tisoy is not felt already here in Quezon City. But for some residents who are living in low-lying areas, it's better to be safe than sorry. Alex?
All right, thank you, Maya Bermudez, and keep safe. 18 evacuation centers are ready to accommodate residents who will choose to flee from their homes during Typhoon Tisoy. But up to this hour, they remain unoccupied. Asher Cadapan Jr. is on the line to tell us why. Go ahead, Asher.
Yes, Alex, Marikina City residents have learned their lesson well from disastrous typhoons in the past years. But despite the intensity of tropical cyclone Kamuri, locally named Tisoy, Marikina people opted not to evacuate from their homes. According to Marikina Disaster Risk Reduction Management Office, or DRRMC, the 18 designated evacuation centers remain vacant up to this time. Some residents explained they choose to just stay in the comfort of their home since the Marikina River's water level remains to be not a threat. The river's water level has increased by about 3 meters, or about 14-meter mark. Based on the official water level monitoring of the Marikina River, residents are prepared for evacuation if its water level reaches 15 meters, while evacuation is strongly advised to residents when it reaches 16 meters. A forced evacuation will be imposed when the 18-meter mark or higher is reached. The Marikina City government continues to monitor any potential mishaps in the next hours with Typhoon Tisoy. The local government also explains that comparatively, more evacuation centers were opened this time to assure preparedness amid such natural calamity. Alex?
Thank you, Asher Cadapan Jr. Almost 2,000 residents in coastal areas in the city of Manila evacuated for fear of storm surge as they brace for Typhoon Tisoy. Bernard Dadis details why.
Manila Mayor Isko Moreno Domagoso ordered the preemptive evacuation of residents in coastal areas in Manila last night. This after the State Bureau warned of a possible storm surge brought about by Typhoon Tisoy that may reach up to 3 meters.
Barangay officials, with the help of the rescue team from Manila City Government, led evacuation of residents in Isla Puting Bato and Parola. As of 5:45 p.m. today, almost 2,000 residents are temporarily staying in 3 evacuation areas in Manila City. 147 in Baseco Evacuation Center, more than 100 individuals in Happy Land, and 1,681 in Delpan Evacuation Center. Most of the evacuees are women, elderly, and children. According to barangay officials, the male members of most families choose to stay put to guard their house and belongings. Each family of evacuees must accomplish the family card provided by the City Social Welfare and Development. This is to record the number of members in a family. This will also be the basis for giving out foods and relief goods such as beddings. The evacuees were provided with all 3 meals today.
Doctors, nurses, and health workers from the Manila City Health Department are ready to serve and give free medical check-up. Each floor of the 4-story Delpan Evacuation Center has comfort rooms and trash bins. Director Arnel Angeles of the Manila Disaster Risk Reduction and Management Office reminds the evacuees to help in maintaining the cleanliness in the temporary shelter they are now using. Bernard Dadis, UNTV News and Rescue, Manila.
Despite reports of deaths in some provinces due to the wrath of Typhoon Tisoy, the National Disaster Risk Reduction and Management Council has yet to release an official count of casualties. Arlene Delgado clarifies why.
The National Disaster Risk Reduction and Management Council, or NDRRMC, continued to verify reports of the fatalities caused by Typhoon Tisoy. NDRRMC spokesperson Mark Timbal says they are still confirming if the electrocution of a 33-year-old man in Camarines Sur yesterday is typhoon-related. The agency assures there were sufficient stockpiles of food and relief items for augmentation to typhoon-stricken communities in need. Timbal says the affected local government units are still able to provide the needs of their constituents.
The standby funds ni DSWD at the NDRRMC are still intact. In case po na kailangan ng assistance ng local governments natin, they can communicate naman po and we're ready to provide assistance.
Currently, the Department of Social Welfare and Development has a total of 586 million pesos of standby funds. Meanwhile, Office of the Civil Defense Region 5 says communication lines and mobile phone signals in some areas in Bicol region, particularly Catanduanes, are still down. The NDRRMC says it is coordinating with the Department of Information and Communications Technology to address the problem.
Our telcos have advised us naman na pag may ganun po, nag-deploy kagad sila ng team to check on to handle the restoration of services, mobile signals.
Arlene Delgado, UNTV News and Rescue, Camp Aguinaldo.
Police say the 7 teens in Pasay City who had supposedly gone missing were not abducted. Meanwhile, 10 other teens in Quezon City recently considered missing are now all accounted for. Leia Ilagan explains why.
The 7 teens reported missing recently in Pasay City were not abducted. According to Pasay Chief of Police, Police Colonel Bernard Jong, the teens voluntarily boarded the van.
Base doon sa kapatid ng isang nawawala ay makikipagkita lang yung kanyang kapatid doon sa isang kaibigan niya. At nung matapos silang mag-meet up, hindi na po umuwi yung kanyang kapatid. At ganun din po yung mga doon sa nami-mention doon sa puting van na nawawala, halos makita po natin doon sa pagkuha sa kanila ay mukhang kakilala nga nila. At wala naman pong resistance.
Colonel Yang adds the 17s belong to the same group. NCRPO Acting Director, Police Brigadier General De Bolsinas confirms that 4 of the teens are involved in illegal drugs.
Yung 4 were involved in selling. Yung 3 nito, yung kapatid mismo nagbigay ng affidavit na parang nag-online sila. Diba? Pero ang cover nila sa online is sapatos ang binibenta. Our theory lang namin to ha, baka hindi nakapag-remit ang mga to. So most likely, baka ito nagpulasan, nagtaguan, hindi sinasabi ng pamilya.
The Quezon City Police District also confirms 10 teens that have been reported missing since August in Quezon City are now all accounted for. Police say some of them went with their boyfriends while others ran away from home because of the misunderstanding with their families. Leia Ilagan, UNTV News and Rescue, Quezon City.
Prompter.
For the news abroad, the chief executive of Hong Kong on Tuesday closed ranks with Beijing and condemned the United States Senate's passage of the Hong Kong Human Rights and Democracy Act, which she lambasted as unnecessary and unjustified. Carrie Lam said in a press conference that the U.S. legislation would have an impact on the city's economic development by undermining confidence and creating an unstable environment for Hong Kong-based businesses. The leader of the Chinese semi-autonomous region added that U.S. firms were also concerned as they too might be affected by the law. On the other hand, Lam announced a fourth round of relief measures to bolster the economy of the region, whose gross domestic product could contract by up to 1.3% for the entire fiscal year as it reels from the double impact of both the ongoing US-China trade war and the massive anti-government protests that have swept the city since June. Leaders called on countries to be much more ambitious in their efforts to tackle the climate emergency as the opening of the United Nations Climate Change Summit in the Spanish capital of Madrid. Clarence Chonesi reports.
The United Nations Climate Change Summit COP25 has kicked off in the Spanish capital of Madrid. Leaders called on countries to be much more ambitious in their effort to tackle the climate emergency. They warned that if action is not taken quickly, life on Earth risks catastrophic consequences in the future.
We stand at a critical juncture in our collective efforts to limit dangerous global heating.
The summit was supposed to take place in Chile, but with ongoing unrest in the country, it was moved to Madrid, where the Spanish acting Prime Minister Pedro Sánchez is one of the people in charge of chairing the summit. Sánchez stressed that for years, many tried to deny climate change despite scientific fact.
Fortunately, there's only a handful of fanatics that deny the evidence. Time has proved that in the face of alternative facts that some have spoken about to deny the climate emergency, the only alternative is to act on facts.
The meeting in Madrid aims to expand national commitments from 2020 when the Paris Agreement comes into force. The South Korean president lamented that countries weren't doing enough to fight climate change.
As Executive Secretary Espinosa has said, if we stay on our current path, we risk a sharp rise in global temperature increase this century, and I quote, "This will have enormous negative consequences for humanity and threaten our existence on this planet."
The world's biggest polluters, the US, China, and India, were being represented at the summit by lower-level delegates. US President Donald Trump has already begun the process of abandoning the Paris Agreement. Chile and Spain hope the conference will open a new phase of global climate action, which would not only involve the negotiators of the delegations representing central governments, but also local governments, regions, and economic and social agents. Clarence Shaughnessy, UNTV, News and Rescue.
Drones built especially to withstand extreme conditions in the Arctic have captured images showing fractures and growing instability in the Greenland ice sheet. Meanwhile, 5 people died in southeastern France as a result of heavy rains and floods that have been recorded in the area. Details in this report.
In France, 3 emergency workers were killed in a helicopter crash near Marseille while on a rescue mission in southern France, where floods have left 2 dead, officials have said. Their EC-145 helicopter lost radio and radar contact while on a rescue and reconnaissance flight in the Var region on Sunday night. The 3 were found dead near the town of Rove. An investigation was underway to determine the circumstances of the crash. In the USA, the winter storm that blanketed much of the Northeast with snow on Monday, disrupting travel and closing schools, is expected to keep hammering parts of New England on Tuesday. As the storm system moves slowly northeastward, some areas could get an additional foot of snow overnight and into the morning, forecasters said. Winter storm warnings and advisories were posted for most of Massachusetts, New Hampshire, Vermont, and Maine. The storm delivered the first major snowfall of the season in the Northeast. And in Greenland, the world's second largest ice sheet and the single largest contributor to global sea level rise is potentially becoming unstable because of fractures developing in response to faster ice flow and more meltwater forming on its surface. Using custom-built drones strong enough to withstand the extreme Arctic conditions, researchers led by the University of Cambridge made the first drone-based observations of how fractures form under meltwater lakes on the Greenland ice sheet. These fractures cause catastrophic lake drainages in which huge quantities of surface water are transferred to the sensitive environment beneath the ice. The study published in the Proceedings of the National Academy of Sciences shows how the water is transferred and how the ice sheet responds. Kat Dumaraos, UNTV News and Rescue.
And those are the stories from around the world. William.
Thank you, Jovic Bermas, for that world news. The Ninoy Aquino International Airport runway reopens after 4 NAIA terminals closed for 7 hours today. Airport authorities expect NAIA's operation to return to normal tomorrow morning. From NAIA Terminal 1, here's Dante Amento to tell us why live. Yes, Dante, good evening.
Good evening, William. The Manila International Airport Authority, or MIA, announced earlier this evening the Ninoy Aquino International Airport runway reopened at 6 tonight. It means that the operation of the airport runway is back to normal. They can fully accept inbound and outbound flights, both domestic and international. But MIA General Manager Edmund Real clarifies they are allocating the 6 p.m. to 11 p.m. time slots for the recovery flight of 53 aircraft earlier evacuated to the other provinces due to the threat of Typhoon Tisoy. But from 11 p.m. to 1 a.m. they can already accept or accommodate flights.
Kaya nga ho, we made sure na bigyan ng priority yung mga airlines, may balik dito sa paliparan yung lahat ng eroplano nila para ho magamit nila sa operasyon nila bukas.
Monreal adds international flights will start at 1:30 a.m. to 3:30 a.m. The airport's operation is expected to return to normal tomorrow morning. Passengers are advised to contact or coordinate with their airline companies for the status of their flights.
Inaasahang maging normal bukas dahil nga po nakabalik na yung lahat ng mga eroplano na nasa labas ng Manila International Airport.
William, about or a total of 480 flights or more than 96,000 passengers are affected of the 7 hours closure of the Ninoy or the runway of the airport runway, which started at 11 this morning. And that's the latest. Back to you, Will.
Thank you, Dante Amento, reporting live from NAIA Terminal 1. Typhoon Tisoy left landmass through Occidental Mindoro this after making landfall in the Philippines 4 times. In a bulletin issued past 5 p.m., the Philippine Atmospheric, Geophysical and Astronomical Services Administration, or PAGASA, said Tisoy is already 110 kilometers northwest of San Jose Occidental Mindoro, or 135 kilometers north of Coron, Palawan. It is still moving west at a relatively fast 25 kilometers per hour pace. Tisoy also continues to weaken, though it remains within typhoon category. It now has maximum winds of 130 kilometers per hour from the previous 140, but its gustiness slightly went up to 200 kilometers per hour from the previous 195. Signal number 3 is still up in Oriental Mindoro, Occidental Mindoro, including Lubang Island and Batangas. Signal number 2, meanwhile, is raised in Romblon, Camarines Norte, Metro Manila, Bulacan, Bataan, Tarlac, Pampanga, Rizal, Quezon, including Polillo Island, Zambales, Marinduque, Cavite, Laguna, northern part of Camarines Sur, southern part of Nueva Ecija, southern part of Aurora, and signal number 1 in southern part of Quirino, rest of Aurora, northern part of Palawan, rest of Camarines Sur, Cuyo Islands, Pangasinan, southern part of Nueva Vizcaya, Burias Island, rest of Nueva Ecija, northern part of Aklan, northern part of Antique. Rain will also continue in parts of Luzon. Based on its latest forecast track, Tisoy is expected to leave the Philippine Area of Responsibility or PAR on Thursday morning. Meanwhile, President Rodrigo Duterte warns anew of going after personalities behind the questionable government contracts with water concessionaires, particularly Manila Water and Maynilad. He said he will tell the public who are behind those anomalous contracts in which big businessmen or those persons the president has tagged as oligarchs made billions of money from. The president made the statement during the ceremonial signing of the postponement of the 2020 Barangay and Sangguniang Kabataan elections and the Malasakit Center Act, and during the oath-taking of newly appointed government officials in Malacanang this evening. He also asked if opposition and minority floor leader Senator Franklin Drilon has something to do with the said contracts.
Bakit pumayag ang mga senador dyan? Marami yan sila. And we will expose them. And I will insist that they be tried for economic sabotage. Pag hindi nila tanggapin yung kaso na yan, I'll tell the Supreme Court now. Now is the time that we talk seriously. Nabilihan ng kaso. Ito, ipapile ko to. Economic sabotage, and I will arrest them. Lahat silang mga patikim ko sila paano ang buhay ng preso. Kung pati ako isasali nila, sasali ako doon sa prisuhan. Walang problema yan.
Some Southeast Asian countries have begun regulating the use of single-use plastics. In Thailand and Vietnam, eco-friendly stores encourage their customers to be aware of preserving the environment. Let's see why through this collaborative report of Charis Dongboen from Bangkok, Thailand, and Tim Timoteo from Ho Chi Minh, Vietnam.
An increasing number of Thailand citizens choose to use eco-friendly products, particularly those used for food. One of those is the Super Bee Wax Wrap, a natural antibacterial food container made from pure beeswax, cotton, coconut oil, and golden tree resin, which can be a substitute for plastic containers. Another famous vegan shop for both Thai and foreigners is Broccoli Revolution. One eco-friendly product found in this vegan restaurant in Bangkok is the natural straw. Morning Glory stems are used as an alternative for straw in order to decrease the generation of plastic waste. Despite the difference in the products being offered, eco-friendly companies like this are united in their goal of taking care of not only nature but also human health.
In Vietnam, plant-based straws are becoming popular not only in Ho Chi Minh City but also in Dalat City, Lamdong Province. The straws are made from wild grass, water spinach, and bamboo.
To biodegradable straws because it solves the problem of plastic straws. Okay, you know, plastic straw destroy the planet very much, and he have an idea to distribute grass straw and bamboo straws for the environment. Okay, and this is our purpose.
In Ho Chi Minh, an online restaurant grocery store promotes a zero-waste lifestyle to minimize land pollution. It sells plant-based products such as mug, paper bag, plates, bamboo, and grass straws aside from healthy food. Their packaging is made of 100% recyclable materials. The plant-based straws are also way cheaper and better than one-time use plastic straws.
Yes, it is cheaper than plastic. For example, you know, one bamboo straws you can recycle 100 times, but the plastic straw is really hard to decompose.
Eco-friendly product for sure. I think because first of all is to protect our health. Because you know, in plastic and straw, there is some condition that it will release some substances that which is not good for our health. For example, for plastic, you cannot put it either too cold or either too hot.
I prefer the eco straw because it helps protecting the environment and it's easy to dissolve.
From Ho Chi Minh City, Vietnam, RJ Timoteo.
From Bangkok, Thailand, Charisse Longbowen for UNTV News and Rescue.
Several malls offered the public free shelter and waived overnight parking fees as Typhoon Tisoy lashed vast swaths of Luzon with the fierce winds and rains. Ayala, SM, Robinsons, and Southwoods Mall announced their free overnight parking on their respective Facebook accounts. The public can also access waiting areas and restrooms at Ayala malls beyond its operating hours, it said. Robinsons and Southwood said they would offer free Wi-Fi access. The Philippine Southeast Asian Games Organizing Committee reports that some SEA Games sporting events were postponed as Typhoon Tosoh makes several landfall in the country. Vincent Arboleda will tell us why.
Typhoon Tisoy or Kamuri have made several landfalls in the country since entering the Philippine area of responsibility. Due to the effects of the typhoon, around 15 sporting events of the Southeast Asian Games have been postponed by their technical delegates and competition managers as of noon today. According to the Philippine Southeast Asian Games Organizing Committee or PhysGOC, this is to ensure the security and welfare of the athletes, delegates, as well as the viewers of the sporting events. These include outdoor sports such as beach volleyball, canoe, kayak, sailing, windsurfing, triathlon, and duathlon, which is being held in Subic area, while polo, underwater hockey, and skateboarding in the Southern Luzon have also been postponed to a later date. Esports in the bench rest category of shooting, which are both to be held in Metro Manila, were also some of the sports being postponed, along with Pitang and the Clark cluster. Meanwhile, other sporting events which were not affected by the storm continue in South Luzon, such as cycling, indoor hockey, and netball, while football, volleyball, badminton, gymnastics, and tennis pushed through in Metro Manila.
Metro Manila, of course, most of these are indoor, so they are not really affected, and we don't want to, deny our fans watching all these sports, no? They really want to watch their teams.
Other than Petang, the rest of the sporting events in the Clark cluster also continued.
So we're trying to address the situation, but PhysGOC now is making sure that the Indonesian delegates that will be departing tonight back to Jakarta will be taken care of, even if the hotel is in charge, but PhysGOC is there ready to address all the stranded delegates or athletes.
Suzara said that PhysGOC continues to monitor the changes and effects of Typhoon Tisoy in the Philippines. Vincent Arboleda, UNTV News and Rescue, Pasay City.
And those are the reasons behind the stories this December 3, 2019. On behalf of Alex Baltazar and Angelo Castro III, I am William Theo, and because we need to know, we will always ask why. Good evening.